All right, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is John Adams. It is always good to see you. Today, we're going to be talking about the Apple ecosystem, the best Apple ecosystem you can have for your budget. Now, to start off with this, we're going to talk about, first and foremost, the iPhone 13 Pro Max. It is an awesome, awesome phone. To me, the 13 Pro Max might be one of the best phones that Apple has ever released ever. Now, as you can see, this phone is my favorite color that they've ever come out with. This kind of like forest green color is absolutely gorgeous. It's got a beautiful screen. It's extremely sharp. Now, it does have the notch up top, which a lot of people are not a big fan of, but for me, the notch was just not that big of a deal. Now, this phone does have the 3 different focal lengths on the camera. It's got the wide, the regular, and then the zoomed in one. You're buying this phone because it does look beautiful, the camera works great, it is still completely fast enough for today's environment. The screen on this phone still looks absolutely gorgeous. Like, I don't have any complaints when it comes to this phone. It's 120 hertz, it's just beautiful. And the best thing about this phone is you can find it for some really, really great prices right now. Like right now, I have seen people selling this phone for $450. If you ask me, this phone, keeping up completely with today's modern technology, it rules. Now, one thing you might want to be careful of is when you're using this phone, a lot, the battery life does degrade over time and you might need to get a battery replacement, but that's not all that expensive. So that's not like a reason not to buy this phone. And so for me, if you're looking at kind of the premium budget category, get that 13 Pro Max. Now, the next category is the Apple Watch Series 8. Look at this, man. This thing is lightning fast right now. It does not feel old at all. I use the Series 8 as my everyday carry watch, and I just never have felt like it's a slow watch. Like, yes, you have the Ultra, you have the Ultra 2, but when it comes to watches, I don't need this thing to do all that much. All I need it really to do is tell time. I love this watch face that gives me this much information. Right now, I have my text, I have my temperature, if I've closed my rings, which clearly today I did not, calendar, timers, all that kind of stuff. It is so helpful for me. And I know the battery life on the 9 or the Ultra would be better, but this still lasts me an entire day, no problem. After having used this watch for over a year, it is still in fantastic shape. It does have a couple little nicks on it, like right up here you can tell, but that really doesn't matter to me all that much. It is still a gorgeous watch. I love the finish of the aluminum there. And this watch band, though it is getting old, it is my favorite watch band for sure. Right now you can find this watch for around $250, $280, somewhere in there. Totally a great deal to me. So if you are wanting a watch that will fit in the Apple ecosystem, I don't really recommend necessarily going with the 9 or the Ultra or the Ultra 2. I actually go backwards a little bit and go back to the 8 because it does pretty much everything you could need it to do at a great price. The next item on today's list are the AirPods 2nd generation. They're amazing AirPods. They still sound fantastic. Yes, they don't look as good as the new ones that have come out. They do stick out in your ear a little bit further. And this case is a case my wife uses. These are hers. But they still work perfectly. The battery life is insane on these things. They last hours and hours and hours. When you're making phone calls on these things, they sound so incredibly good. They are versatile. You can use them for good music. You can use them while you're working out. Having owned many pairs of AirPods, these 2nd generations of the old design, man, they work flawlessly. Now, to make things even better, these things are only $80 online. That is absolutely incredible for something that's this versatile. So I do recommend, if you're gonna go budget for your Apple ecosystem, go back a generation or two on the AirPods. They sound pretty much just the same, and you're not gonna have them to A/B test. And that's a huge deal with all these things. If you don't have the brand new version and the old version in your hand, you will not notice these things being slow. You won't notice them kind of lacking because you don't have the new one in your hand to test it out. The next thing I recommend for people is making sure if you're gonna go a budget Apple ecosystem, you get a Mac Mini. The Mac Mini has been my favorite Apple computer for a very, very long time because you can get in at a crazy good deal. If you go back to the M1 Mac Mini, you could probably get that right now for about $450, $500, somewhere in that range. And it is no slouch. I mean, incredible performance. It's absolutely whisper silent. Like, they literally could make this thing without a fan and it would be totally fine. And it's got a great port selection, which is awesome. But if you do need more ports, it's got Thunderbolt on it that you can use a hub or a dock or something like that to get more I/O. Now, I'll tell you, after using a Mac Mini for years and years for 4K video projects, like 10-bit 422 video project, this thing does not even bat an eye at a project like that. So the Mac Mini to me is one of the most incredible computers for the price to get you into the Apple ecosystem. For students, this is a huge deal. You can get a Mac Mini, get up and running, do all your work you need to do, and have a full computer. Yes, you will need to get a monitor. You can find cheap monitors. You'll need to get a mouse and keyboard. You can find those things for like 10 bucks and then upgrade them as you go. That's what I love about the Mac Mini, is it's like modular. You can get a better screen when you have money for a screen. You can get a better keyboard when you have money for a keyboard. So when you're in the Apple ecosystem, if you want budget, Mac Mini's the way to go. Now, if you are gonna get an iPad and you wanna stay in a good budget, I would recommend the M2 iPad Pro. Now, the reason I recommend the M2 iPad Pro is that's only if you're not gonna get a full computer. And so if you just need a good budget device that's gonna be your all-arounder, having an iPad Pro is a fantastic thing. Now, the reason I suggest the Pro for people is the fact that it has the same exact chip that's in the new M2 iPad Air, but it's got a way better screen. Like, I don't know if you can see it on the screen back here. This is my other cam. It has a really fast 120 hertz ProMotion display is what Apple calls it. And that just means when you're using this iPad, it is a very pleasant experience. It doesn't feel slow in any way. Yes, it came out a little bit ago, but I've said it in many, many videos in the past. The M2 iPad with that M2 chip, man, it has not saturated the chip in any way possible. And so if you're gonna like look for a single device, say you're a college student, something like that, you probably wanna go for something like either that Mac Mini that I mentioned or an iPad. And if you're gonna get one device, I would go with the iPad Pro. One of the benefits of having an iPad is it has Apple Pencil support. And so if you're in class and you wanna be taking notes, that's a great option. It also has cameras on it. So if you wanna take physical notes, you wanna scan those in, you can do that. It also comes with keyboards, so you can actually get a regular typing experience. And so for me, if somebody's like super on a budget and they want to get the most out of their devices they possibly can, I sometimes recommend not getting a Mac Mini, like not getting a full computer, and getting something like an iPad. Now, there will probably be times where you run into some stuff that you can't do on the iPad because things like the Files app, there's other things that are just kind of janky, a little bit, you gotta do some workarounds. But for the most part, you're not going to need to. So it's always helpful. Your roommate probably has a computer, just to have a way to get around those little weird things with iPad OS. And the hope is over time, iPad OS is going to get more robust. Now, we just had a WWDC and they totally let everybody down. Everybody wanted iPad OS to be like a full-blown computer. Apple has been very diligent about not crossing those two sections of their business. They want to keep all the money that they can from the Mac and from the iPad. But the iPad Pro with the M2 chip is a fantastic option for you if you're looking for an Apple ecosystem and spending the least amount of money possible. But you're also really wanting a good experience. And that's kind of the whole theme of this Apple ecosystem is it's what's the best experience you can have while spending the least amount of money. And you'll notice there was no new items on board on this Apple ecosystem list, because where Apple has brought things to is things that are 2 or 3 years old or like 1 or 2 generations back, they still work fine. I say it a lot of my videos, these things weren't meant to make you happy, and so you might as well get a tool that's going to cost less and still be really effective. So let me know in the comments below, what do you actually think of the list that I said? Do you think it's better to go newer? Or is it better to go with the premium devices from a year or two ago? Let me know. Like this video if you found it helpful. Sub to the channel. I will see you all in the next one.